Welcome, welcome. Hey, let me make sure we're live on Facebook. Want to see if I'm showing up. There we go. There we go. I don't know. It looks like I'm seeing a video and I look exactly like I do today. So apparently I have been attracted to the black tank top and the black necklace a couple of times recently. Or may oh no, that was this morning. Okay. Welcome back to Higher Perspectives. So happy to have you here. If you're live, say hello and let me know you're here and where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, please post in the comments #replay. Love to hear your comments on the Higher Perspectives as I come in here to bring obviously higher perspectives to the dense world of the Matrix. So today I want to talk about mass hypnosis. I became incredibly excited and interested in hypnosis many years ago, even before I remember. The first time I remember being especially interested in hypnosis was for hypnobirthing, and that was 26 years ago. But years after that, I was going through some old stuff of mine, and I had found a hypnosis cassette tape. That's how long ago. But I want to talk about hypnosis and how we're actually being hypnotized to create particular timelines that suit some people and not the masses. I mean, there are the individuals, and there is an agenda on this planet in the Matrix that benefit from our suffering, And so let's talk a little bit about what hypnosis is. Hypnosis affects your subconscious mind, and we are vastly run by our subconscious mind. Our subconscious is below the consciousness. And I talk a lot about before we're 7 years old, we get a lot of our programming during that time. But we can be hypnotized anytime. And as a hypnotherapist for 26 years, I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I don't like hypnosis because I don't want somebody to control my mind." And that is a hypnotic story right there. We are constantly being hypnotized. So let's talk about how we become hypnotized. One is if you see someone or something as an authority figure. So doctors, lawyers, judges, your parents. I was going to do this outside today, but it's raining, it's pouring. We just had a loud thunder. So I'm inside again. But that was just a huge thunder. Love living in our dream house in the mountains. Hello, Gloria. So glad you're here. Hypnosis is when we take something in as truth. So we will do this from authority figures. As a young child, we see our parents as authority figures, doctors, government officials, police officers, grandparents, teachers, and then as adults, we tend to see government officials, the president, doctors, people that we deem authorities that know more about something than us. And when they say something is true, we may feel that around. We do have a critical factor after we're 7 years old where we go, how does that feel to me? Does that seem right? Do I believe that? And then if we do decide, okay, that aligns with me, that aligns with the experiences I've had in the past, then we will often make it our belief. But because we're adults now, we're older than 7 years old, it may take more time to make something our belief. So we have that critical factor where we're measuring and wondering, is that really true? So other things are used to weaken that critical factor. One of those things is repetition. right? So we might hear something one time and we're like, that doesn't sound right to me. And then we hear it again and we're like, well, that doesn't sound right to me. And a few times we may say, that doesn't sound right to me, but the more we hear it over and over and over again, then we're like, oh, I've heard that so many times, it must be true, right? So repetition. That's why when we talk about manifesting and saying affirmations to change our belief, repetition is super, super important. Another way that we become hypnotized to believe something in a faster manner is through emotion. And so emotion is, to get that heightened state of emotion, is trauma. So we may see something that's traumatizing, right? We can see a lot of traumatizing things just on programming, on television, on movies, on shows, that create trauma in our mind, that go against who we are as divine beings. And the more often we see that, we're like, trauma, like 9/11 was traumatizing. I remember seeing that on the news and keeping my kids home from school. I was just like wide-eyed. Maybe you can remember this. When JFK was assassinated, I wasn't alive then, but that was another moment in time where people became hypnotized, right? That trauma, and then all of the aftermath. Oh, I am not safe, creates a trauma, and then it's that belief, I'm not safe, and then the individuals who benefit from our suffering come in with a solution. And in those solutions, we are told that we can either be safe or we can either be free. And because we just had that traumatic experience, we choose safety, because suddenly freedom doesn't feel so safe anymore. And we've just had that experience that proved to us. So the ways that we're hypnotized is authority giving us information, hearing that information over and over and over again, and then our emotions being evoked. Now, if we look at how we manifest, if you're a spiritual seeker and you're like, I want to manifest, you'll know that the same way we manifest what we desire is the same way that those that benefit from our suffering, they're using the same manifestation process. So those that benefit from our suffering, they're actually creating timelines by generating emotions from us, having the masses generate these emotions, which then align us with particular timelines. How do they do this? They use authorities to tell you what to expect, right? So it's time to expect a recession, and this is why and why and why. And you can go to all kinds of different channels on the television, all kinds of different programming, and you will get the same information for the most part. I mean, I've even seen videos put together where news anchors were saying the exact same thing word for word after over a multitude of channels. That's because we think if we hear it from different sources, it must be true. Well, in the Matrix, it looks like 20 different sources, but they lead up to one ultimate source that is playing with our ability to be hypnotized. And then we hear all of those stories. We hear, this is what to expect. There is a recession coming. We hear it from all different sources, right? What does that do? It evokes fear. Oh my gosh, my security, I am not going to be financially secure. What does that do? That generates emotion, that fear, which puts out into the ethers, puts out into the energetic sphere all of this fear. Now we have millions and millions of people generating that emotion, which is aligning us to a particular outcome. And then we're told how to prepare for what is inevitably coming, because now we have been mass hypnotized. The masses have been hypnotized. Multitudes of people are generating a particular emotion, which is aligning us with a timeline. And now we're going to prepare for it. And so these timelines, there's infinite timelines that are possible, right? And the individuals that benefit from our suffering and benefit from a war timeline, that benefit from a recession timeline. We know that people get rich in wars. When we're dying, when people are dying, other people are getting rich. We know that when there's a recession, people are getting rich, right? So that is exactly how you manifest. So if you read any manifesting books, you decide what you want and then you envision it, right? That's what the news media, that's what all of the programming, television does, is it helps you to envision it, right? I mean, if you watch a news show, you will see that they pick images that are going to evoke the emotion. So you imagine what you want to create, and then you cultivate those emotions, right? You can visualize it, but you also have to feel it done. Feel the celebration, feel the excitement. And then, as Florence Scovel Shinn would say, dig your ditches. Prepare for what you are creating. So if you want to pull yourself out of the matrix, you have to stop tuning in to their programming, tuning in to their mass hypnosis tools, which is all of the media. And you get to take care of what is going into your mind. Notice, oh, what emotion just came up? Is that the emotion that I want to align with in a timeline? Because we are not stuck. We are not victim to the timelines that the masses are being created. Just like successful people saying that you can expect the success, what the angels saying, let's get grounded. I get so excited about this, that the 5 people you hang around with most, whatever they're living is what you're going to be living. So gather in spiritual communities, do the join with Dr. Joe in doing the meditations, the Ziva online, join the spiritual communities that are rising above, right? Higher perspectives, not reacting. You don't want to react, even if you're opposed to what's going on. You don't want to resist it. You want to rise above and choose your timeline. Choose the timeline of peace. How do you do that? Become peaceful in your head. If you have an internal war of this and that, find peace within yourself. If you want to align with a peaceful timeline, find peace with every person in your experience, right? You don't have to be peaceful with the political leadership. All you need to do is be peaceful with your spouse, be peaceful with your children, be peaceful with your parents. Like, cultivate that peace within and around your small circle is all that's required. And surround yourself with people who are committed to aligning and creating the higher timelines. It is all available, no matter what you are seeing on the mass media saying, this has to happen, this has to happen. See this circumstance and this situation and that situation and that situation. So there's no other way. It has to be that way. When you choose the higher perspectives and you choose to be a higher frequency, then you are going to attract all that you need and require and desire, no matter what's going on in the matrix. You understand that? And the more of us that disconnect from the matrix and the emotions that are creating timelines that only serve very few, is to align with the highest frequencies. We don't need anybody else to do that. It totally supports, though, to be surrounded by the people, like-minded individuals who understand that divine love, divine light, divine truth, divine power, and divine abundance are always available at all times. So disconnect from the mass hypnosis, create your own hypnosis with meditation, music, dancing, and high expectations of heaven on earth. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for this week's Higher Perspectives. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and like. If you're not watching this on YouTube, go find our YouTube channel. Tori will put it in the comments below. And know that I am, if you are ready to rise above this matrix, I am taking applications for private clients, and you can find the link to that application in the comments below as well. Thank you, everyone. Mwah. Bye for now.